Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Go F.O.C Yourself, the Comic Beats weekly final order cutoff show. My name is Brandon. I am here in the capacity of one of the Beats retailer correspondents. I co-run a store called Variant Edition in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And on this show, we are going over all of the various items that are on final order cutoff this week. We pop it up on the site here and take a look through all the things. Now, there's a couple big things happening this week. The main one, I would say, is the majority of the free comic book day issues are on final order cutoff for retailers. So what that basically means is for the event happening in mid-August, retailers are going to have to figure out what we're going to order and what the world looks like in mid-August. I know that differentiates from place to place, and it's going to take some different considerations for each person. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and we're going to do our regular final order cutoff stuff. We've got a how do I receive a free comic? You will so free comic book day happens once a year. Usually, if it was a regular year, it would happen on May the 1st. It would happen tomorrow, actually, first Saturday in May every year. This year, free comic book day is not happening until mid-August. What we're talking about today is ordering those comics. And if you want those comics, to be aware of how your retailer might be ordering them. So the show serves a double purpose of making sure that retailers know what's on the final order cutoff, things to think about, and so that customers also know that if they want something specifically to potentially ask their comic store for them. Now, free comic book day stuff differs. Every store gives out their free comic book day product differently. So definitely contact those places around you about free comic book day and what they do. It is a ways off, so they might not know, especially given COVID happening. But yeah, that's the long and short of it at the moment. It's still a fair ways away, which makes it interesting that we're setting orders. Free comic book day as an idea was introduced in this very issue of Comics and Games Retailer by Joe Field. He proposed the idea, Diamond responded, and free comic book day emerged from it. So that's pretty cool. I've been collecting these over the past year. I've been trying to collect them for several years, but over the past year, I've actually gotten a hold of a lot of them. And this one does have that article that proposed free comic book day. Really cool. I might post something about it on Comics Beat in the coming weeks and months as we lead up to free comic book day and the pressures that are on retailers around that. Now, before we really get into things, we're going to set up our rules for free comic book, or sorry, not for free comic book day, but for this F.O.C show. First, we are going to focus on stories first and collecting second. So while there are a myriad of variant editions for each book, we're not going to showcase all of them. That would make for an extremely long show. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about arc starts. We're going to talk about second printings. We're going to talk about stories and how to communicate with either your customers or how to communicate with your store on the stories that you want. So that's going to be the first and foremost rule here. Second, helpful information is always welcome. I will pop it up on the screen, whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, and we can discuss different items. So if you have something to say about a specific book, please be aware that there is a bit of a lag with the comments as they get to me. So it helps to note what you're talking about specifically in your comments, and that way we can nobody can be too confused. Third, unhelpful information will not be acknowledged unless you address me as Comics Daddy, and maybe not even then. That's just to keep things rolling. We could get into weird arguments all day. We're here to make sure that people are getting good information. And whether or not you agree with sort of the ways abouts that I'm going about disseminating that information, that's cool. The internet is wide and varied. The comment will be there forever. I get to pick and choose what gets to go up on here because that's the deal. And rule 4, don't be a ding dong. Don't be a ding dong. That's just a general rule in life. Be a good person, and things should be pretty okay. All right. So let's get going with this. We're going to do a little bit of a screen share, and then we're going to talk about the stuff that is on Diamond's final order cutoff list. All right. Getting that up there. So we're going to use this. Please let me know if the screen does not change properly, because there has been some issues with that in the past. What we're also going to do first is the free comic book day items. So almost everything on the free comic book day list is up for final order cutoffs. So as a store, if you're looking for any of these books, you're gonna have to get things in order and get this placed by Monday, which is pretty swift. I know for our personal store, we like to get in all the requests in by Sunday at 5 p.m. That is so we can go through the requests properly, make sure that we can attach them to everyone's files and send them out. If you do put in an order later, we might not be able to get to it by the deadline just because of how the workflow works. So we have deadlines for a reason. Definitely check with your shop as to what their specific deadlines are for final order cutoffs. It will vary from location to location depending on what resources they have. So for free comic book day, there will be a bunch of items to order. You have your typical variations all over. We're not going to go into anything too deep here because it is a long ways off. We might do a show talking about free comic book day stuff closer to the day. But as a retailer, you kind of know what you're getting in with all of these things. Of course, the thing to think about is how do you project your region going for the next few months? Where do you think you'll be in August? We're erring on the side of caution. We're not going to do a big everybody come to the store and cram inside there. Partly because we know how we've looked at the history of sort of how a lot of the pandemic stuff works. And we definitely realize that unfortunately, things aren't going to quite be settled. They'll be better. A lot of people will be vaccinated, but variants will pop up just kind of like how the flu does. And this is a lot more contagious, unfortunately. And as it stands, there's a huge inequality in access to these vaccines, not only within nations, but across the world. And one of the biggest things about these viruses is it could give a crap about where the borders are. It travels with the people. So unless a place is going to be pretty stringent about traveling in general, the inequality of vaccines across the world is going to cause problems, is going to keep going through to the summer months. So that's going to suck. It just is. We can all be a lot safer, and we will definitely try to be here. So we are tempering our orders. I feel like my recommendation to retailers is to temper your orders as well, and to err on the side of caution. The worst case scenario is you run out of free product that we do have to pay for, and that would suck, but hopefully folks will be understanding. So keep an eye out on all of these books. You have to order them in quantities of 10. If you order 11 copies of something, Diamond says they will round it up to the nearest bundle of 10. So if you order 11, you will get 20. That is a big thing to remember. And it is not just the gold comics. It is the silver comics as well. Although you do have to order all of the gold comics to participate in free comic book day. The silver ones, not so much. You can order whatever you want. But again, in quantities of 10. So keep looking for that. Also, keep an eye out for some of these will have already come out, and there will be previews, sort of like Allergic, will already be out by the time August rolls around. It will be a preview book. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't order it in a decent quantity, because we find that all ages really dig Free Comic Book Day. But it's just something to be aware of as you're going through here. Definitely look through, because Diamond does have a lot of good information on what is a reprint and what is all new material. As always, we highly suggest folks getting the Marvel and well, here's the Marvel books. DC promises they'll be doing something around Free Comic Book Day as well. But if there's a tie-in to various titles like Spider-Man and Venom, make sure that your customers get that stuff. They will want that information. So very important to do. All right, with Free Comic Book Day taken care of, let's head back and do some final order cutoffs through Diamond. These are due, like I said, on Monday evening. And yeah, for myself in Mountain Standard Time, it is 10 p.m. on Monday that I have to put in my final orders. And again, that is why we ask for you to get in your numbers by Sunday evening so that nothing is missed. All right. Heading through some stuff. Got a lot of continuing series. Ascender is back with a new story arc. It is the final story arc in this story. So if you, it's been gone for a little while. This issue is resolicited. And Image is actually running a little bit of a sale on Ascender trade paperbacks to catch people up. So keep an eye out for that. Go to Diamond if you're a retailer and get going on that. If you're a customer, maybe bug your retailer, not necessarily to get a good price, but just to let them know that there's a bit of a deal to be had and to stock up, because sometimes folks need that little bit of an extra push. And you can't ask them for a discount. My stance on that is do what you would in any other situation. I don't end up walking into Walmarts and being like, hi, I'm getting 3 loaves of bread. Can you charge me the price of 2? Seems weird. So figure that into how you approach your comic book stores as well. And, you know, Walmart's a general suggestion. I know a lot of folks would be like, well, I don't go to Walmart. Cool story. All right. So not a lot of new stuff from Diamond in this instance, but something to keep an eye out for. Lady Mechanica is moving to Diamond from Bennett Productions. Joe Bennett moving that series and mainstay of Free Comic Book Day. You will notice that the cover is the same as it is for many Free Comic Book Day issues in the past. So please be aware of that if you're getting it. The content is similar to what you end up getting in the past. Will include the 14-page standalone story, The Demon of Satan's Alley, which first introduced Lady Mechanica and her steampunk world in Lady Mechanica number 0 plus 8 or more. Ooh la la. Pages of excerpts from upcoming or existing Lady Mechanica books, including Monster at the Ministry of Health, the newest story by series creator Joe Benitez, which will debut this year from Image Comics. And this Stray Dogs Free Comic Book Day issue, for those folks looking for some story stuff, there is a new prelude story in this issue of Stray Dogs. So if you are a big fan of the series, definitely make sure that you get that in hand. There's some reissues of some of the dollar comics that Image does of Ice Cream Man and Spawn. That's really big considering how things are rolling in those series. We also have a new series made in Korea from Jeremy Holt and George Schall. A quick quick start guide for your proxy. Step 1, remove box. Step 2, power on. Step 3, raise your child. For Jesse, the world's first true AI system, growing up means learning to think outside the box. This exciting 6-issue miniseries will redefine what it means to be a family in an age when biological parenthood is no longer a reality. So one of those near future series that I'm pretty sure nothing bad will happen in, as you know, most of these series go. Manifest Destiny is returning from Chris Dingus and Matthew Roberts. I always feel sorry for Chris Dingus, but partly because when I'm being salty with people, I'm just like, nah, you ding dong, you dingus. Has nothing to do with his actual talents. He's a very talented person. I really like that dude. And they've been doing Manifest Destiny with Matthew Roberts for quite some time, as it says here, from 2013. It is a wonderful alternative take, very cryptid take on the discovery, quote unquote, of America. Someone says, yay, Stray Dogs. Very excited for more Stray Dogs. That story has been harrowing AF, and very excited for folks on Free Comic Book Day to experience that series and maybe get the collection, which will probably be out right around then as well. Not one that we'll recommend to kids. That will be a hard one because obviously if you look at the cover art, it does evoke that that animated style, you know? And so it'll be like, oh, a wonderful story about doggos. Why, this will be great for our children's. Maybe not. Maybe not a murder book about puppos for your babies. Unless your babies are chill with it. I don't know. Y'all raise your kids. What else we got here? Okay, so I'm actually very excited about this, and I'm going to highly recommend it to folks. The first volume of Stray Bullets has been out of print for a hot second, for a while. Image is reoffering it here, and what Diamond and comic companies tend to do these days is offer something on final order cutoff to see if there's enough demand to warrant a new printing. Stray Bullets is, full stop, one of the best comics ever written. That's just an actual measurable fact. That can't be debated, so don't do it. And I want to share a little piece of it with you here. So these are their stories. Follow the lost lives of people who are savagely torn apart by events beyond their control, as the innocent world of an imaginative little girl is shattered when she witnesses a brutal double murder, or an introverted young boy on the verge of manhood gets a lesson on how far is too far when he falls for a needy woman who lives life in the fast lane, or party with a pair of low-rent hoods who learn about what is really important in life just when they shouldn't, and even learn the story about the most infamous gangster who ever lived, Amy Racecar, who talks to God, lunches with the president, and just may be responsible for the end of the world. There are some of the tales that will rip out your guts and break your heart. These are some of the tales. Quite honestly, it is a wild series. Each issue is pretty much its own story that can be told on its own. Everything paints a larger tapestry and of this weird, surreal world of crime. It's absolutely wonderful. It's been running for quite some time, well over 100 issues at this point, I believe, or at the very least approaching it. Yeah, very much approaching it. I think we're talking like 96-ish. So pretty cool. These stories are a lot. I love them quite a bit. Danica, you might know her as also an owner of Variant Edition, and the best part of the store, says they've got the Stray Dogs collection dated for September 15th, which is good. because folks getting a little taste, be like, hey, if you come back next month, you get the whole story. It's going to be great. So that's really cool. All right. Enough about Stray Bullets. I could wax poetic about that all day. The second print of the third issue of Stray Dogs is coming out too, for those who might have missed it. I know there's a couple of you at the store. We do like trying to make sure that everybody gets the books that they need, but sometimes it just doesn't work out depending on orders. Stray Dogs has been outstanding, and we're very happy to have put it in so many people's hands. Some good Aqua. What else we got? We've got subsequent printings of Ultra Mega by James Herron. Wonderful, very murdery, very slick and slippery kaiju fight series. Think what if the kind of Power Rangers style, but if it was much more murdery and had a lot of viscera in it. It's a sight to behold, and it is one of our favorite books at the moment. Undiscovered Country 7 is also getting a second printing from the looks of it, which is weird. That one's a little bit older, so that might be a misnomer. Who knows? Dark Horse here with a whole bunch of collections. The Crimson Flower collection from Matt Kint and Matt Lesniewski. From Double Mats. A very surreal, as it says here, brand new mind-altering journey through Russian folk tales, trained assassins, and government conspiracies. Exactly what it is. There is a new volume of Avatar comics. You know, that movie that happened one time. Some old EC Comics archives. You've also got some Free Comic Book Day stuff of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra. Always a huge hit at our stores. And also Critical Role and The Witcher. So nice pairings there, honestly. Definitely more of the fantasy end. David Mack continues his reproductions of Kabuki, which is really good to see. And Lost on Planet Earth gets a collection. It was one of the Comixology original series, and Dark Horse is collecting these in print so that y'all don't have to give Bezos his money. I mean, you're kind of giving Bezos his money, but in a way that you actually get something for it. Isn't that nice? I like that. I'm all good for digital comics. I do have a little bit of an itch against Amazon because Jeff Bezos can jump in a lake. Also, that man should probably just give me money. We've talked about this before on other podcasts, Danica and I. Jeff Bezos, if you were truly a decent human being, if you wanted to show the world that you're not just giant scum, you should give Danica and I at least $5 million. We won't stop saying bad things about you, but you have enough money that shouldn't be a problem. $5 million, chump change. Make it happen, and actually nothing will change. Just give us $5 million. Just give us $5 million. You dork. Lost on Planet Earth is from Magdalene Visaggio and Claudia Aguirre. It's 2381, and Basil Miranda, on the verge of graduation, knows exactly what she's doing with the rest of her life and always has a primo assignment on the best ship in the fleet alongside her best friend in the world. She has meticulously prepared herself, and the final fleet exam is tomorrow. But what if none of that is what she truly wants? And why hasn't she ever asked herself that before? Lost on Planet Earth is the latest expectation-defying series from Visaggio, the Eisner-nominated writer of Kim and Kim and Eternity Girl, Lost on Planet Earth, reunites Visaggio with artist Aguirre. The pair previously collaborated on Kim and Kim and created the acclaimed series Morning in America. They're joined by letterer Zach Sam and editor Joe Corallo. As it says, originally a digital series. I've read the series. It is a lot of fun, especially if you're enjoying a lot of Megs's work. And if you enjoyed the bounty hunter heisty stylings of their work on Kim and Kim, there's a little taste of that here, but definitely a lot of positive energy, which I always love from Megs's work. Soupy Leaves Home is a reprinting of a wonderful series from graphic novel from Cecil Castellucci and Jose Pimenta. Pearl Plunkett ran away from her home to escape an abusive father and unhappy future. Disguised and reborn as a boy named Soupy, she hitches her star to an unlikely hobo, and they begin their journey from the cold heartbreak of their eastern homes towards the sunny promises of California in this train-hopping, Depression-era, coming-of-age tale. So this is a graphic novel that needed to be reprinted. That doesn't happen a whole lot with Dark Horse. I like the company. They don't always seem to have their finger on the pulse these days. Cecil Castellucci is an outstanding talent. Comes mainly from prose, has done some remarkable comics work, including Shade the Changing Girl and Shade the Changing Woman, and the Female Furies series, which was absolutely wonderful from DC Comics. Always love to see their work when they're working in comics, and this is no exception. Steeple is getting a volume 2. You might know Steeple from single issues that were collected in volume 1. Well, it continued to happen digitally on the internets, and there's a new collection of Steeple here. So your folks who are big John Allison folks, who are getting their Giant Days, who are getting their Steeple, who are getting their 6-issue series that happened. If Danica's still here, she can remind me of what that was. John Allison, Wicked Things. John Allison is a remarkable talent, one of our favorites, and Steeple is basically a paranormal series that deals a lot with religion and doesn't have any ill will towards any party specifically. It's quite refreshing, honestly, in the genre. So highly recommend Steeple if you haven't checked out the first volume. Definitely check out that sooner rather than later. Witcher, Witch's Lament, is the newest story in Dark Horse's Witcher series of comics. Each series, you don't need to know what happened in the previous one. They are tie-ins with the great video game. And if you only know The Witcher from the TV show, you're going to get a lot out of these comics as well. From IDW, we have a bunch of different things, including the Free Comic Book Day solicitations of Sonic the Hedgehog's 30th anniversary and Star Wars High Republic Adventures, hitting on those franchises. You also have the Bird Smithsonian coloring book, Godzilla Unnatural Disasters, which makes me smile. This is more of a collection from Chris Mowry and Ulysses Farinas. That last guy's kind of a ding-dong, but these stories are pretty wonderful. So you get the Compendium of Legends in Hell and Rage Across Time. They've been doing a few Godzilla collections. Hard to say why, really, in these times, in these trying times. I'm very happy to continue to see that. They did a recent reprinting of the James Stokoe Half-Century War one, which is detailed as heck, and in a nice oversized hardcover. Really cool. Danica says, count me in for Steeple. Just kidding. I can put in my own orders. Yeah. Thank you. Alrighty. There's also the continuation of My Little Pony and Transformers 2. We've been selling the heck out of that trade paperback, my friends. because the first one just recently came out in collected edition. A delightful combination, and those stories continue here. It is kind of what you think and not what you expect. My Little Pony and Transformers smashing together. Onion Skin from their top shelf division. Discover a bright new star of Mexican comics in this romantic and thrilling tale, stuffed with adventure and delicious food. Rolando's job is crushing him, and then it literally crushed his hand. Now he can barely get out of the house, binging TV and struggling to find meaning. On a rare night out with friends, he meets Nera, a woman who lives only in the moment. Dazzled by her hedonistic attitude, Rolando sees a new life opening before him. Together, these restless youths fix up an old food truck and hit the road for a wild journey. But have they truly found the spice of life, or has Rolando bitten off more than he can chew? Onion Skin, winner of Mexico's first ever National Young Graphic Novel Award, became a sensation in its native land for its rich narrative, captivating characters, thrilling action, and positively delicious artwork. It's a feast that will leave readers eager for a second course. Very, very cool. You can, of course, get Onion Skin through Diamond, or you can order it through Penguin Random House. You will get them roughly the same time. A lot of times Penguin Random House will actually get them to you sooner, and you can sell it as soon as you get it in your hands. There's also a new collection of Star Trek Year 5, which has gone over really well with folks. It's basically the original Star Trek, if it had continued. And then Star Wars Adventures Weapon of a Jedi, a little 2-issue series. The Rebel Alliance has destroyed the Empire's dreaded Death Star, but the Imperial Starfleet continues hunting the rebels throughout the galaxy. Luke Skywalker now seeks to support the rebellion as an X-Wing fighter, but as he flies with the pilots of the Red Squadron, Luke feels stirrings of the Force, and this farm boy turned fighter pilot begins to suspect that his destiny lies along a different path. Nobody knows what happens in the story. I love the Star Wars Adventure stories because they do give an all ages perspective. And I know that Star Wars does that in general. However, it is something made with a specific audience in mind. And it is, we sell quite a few of them, especially to younger readers who are learning about stuff and just love them some Star Wars. We will get to the DC Comics later because we'll be going through 2 weeks worth of Lunar stuff. As is the way, because there are 2 different distributors for DC product. What you say? A lot of people don't know that. But that stuff happens. Danica says, we have our restock of My Little Pony and Transformers back in today, so please let everyone know. Hey, yeah, check that out. We keep selling out, so now it's back in stock. I will note for any new commenters, unhelpful information will not be acknowledged unless you address me as Comics Daddy, and maybe not even then. So I see your comment. It will not go up on the screen as per the rules. All right. Come on, Marvel. So here we have some new stuff coming out. It's some of the last bits of omnibuses that will be coming out exclusively from Diamond, as you can see here, September 22nd. Folks, something very important. A week from today is your preferred deadline to open your Penguin Random House account if you want to get Marvel Comics direct from their new distributor. Diamond will continue to be functioning as a wholesaler. They have not let people know what their deal will be. Now, up in Canada, a wholesaler called Universal, who does DC shipping, has noted that they will be matching Penguin's discount and free shipping. So if you want to get your DC and Marvel comics from the same place and you happen to be in Canada, Universal is going to be a great option for you, because you'll get your regular discounts that you've always been getting. Or in the case of Marvel, you will be getting the top discount that folks are getting. and we'll be able to get your stuff from one distributor. I know that's been a huge issue for people, the splitting of distributors. We go through tons of different distributors, so not a huge risk on our part to kind of keep on going on here. We get our DC, Dark Horse, and IDW graphic novels from Penguin Random House. So not a huge change for us, but I know that a lot of folks have been unhappy with the extra workload, and some of you have been unhappy with Lunar. I will let you know that Universal has treated us extremely well, and if they're picking up Marvel, then hey, you got one source to get that stuff from. That's pretty cool. That's really awesome. There we go. See? Comics Daddy, Retcon Doomsday Clock. If only my Comics Daddy powers worked in such a way. Doomsday Clock, I know a lot of folks enjoyed it. Not my tastes, but it definitely felt like somebody read Watchmen and was like, I got the lessons that I should learn from this, and then kind of didn't. That's my feelings on it. I accept if someone feels a different way. So many people really, really love that book. Hey, that's awesome. That's the point of different forms of art. You can do almost anything with it, and that's cool. And I love that you find something that you like. Not personally my deal. Black Panther 25 reappears on Final Order Cutoff. It was pushed back. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of other covers. We did go over this on a previous show. But if you can take a look at these absolutely gorgeous covers, they're doing different art styles with some of the different big Marvel artists on this book, including, I know Patrick Gleason has had some good success with doing a lot of his more minimalistic workings, and the Pete Momoko has gotten a lot of attention as well. But there's been a lot of other different art styles and also a cover by Brian Stelfreeze, who started the run of Black Panther with Ta-Nehisi Coates. So this will be the finale. You will also see some reappearances here. Dawn of X #1 is getting a reprint potentially. There is Demon Days X-Men #1, the third printing by Peach Momoko. It's going over really well. We still have copies ourselves. And the new issue, it's going to be a quarterly series, will be coming out, I believe, in June. So keep an eye out for that on a future episode. And make sure that your comic store knows if you are not a retailer, because it is a series of one-shots. And so being more diligent about that and making sure that your shop knows, I would like all of these one-shots. Some stores might require you to add them as the series goes. Others might be able to accommodate you with just the one request of like, I would like the rest of Demon Days, please. Just check in with your store and help them out, because there's so much information. These shows are often an hour long for a reason. Yeah, definitely kind of let them know. Hawkeye Volume 1 is getting a reprint ahead of the new Hawkeye series coming out later this year. It is good to see Marvel get ahead of something instead of being a little bit behind on some of the reprint stuff. I know there's some Loki stuff coming out on here that's a little bit tighter than I would have liked for Marvel to do some reprints on. And when WandaVision was in its heyday and Falcon and Winter Soldier, there was a lot of that stuff that they kind of put back into print, but immediately went out of print because they just underestimated demand, as Marvel is wont to do. Heroes Reborn continues. It is a weekly series. I know the first issue isn't out, but we have to set final orders for #4. So if you love #1 when you read it and you've been on the fence, let your comic shop know as soon as possible, because they have set their final orders for a lot of things. They might not be able to help you out because of whether or not they went big on the series or went really tight on the series because it's coming out so quickly. Be chill with your stores in that case, because we do what we can. And if you're deciding to figure out how #1 sells, well, so are hits you, well, so are we. It's just kind of the way it goes, honestly. Apparently there's a petition to retcon Doomsday Clock. Do you want to be a part of it? I don't know. I have selective continuity, which is to say that all of these stories never happened. And so I pick and choose the ones that I feel are true to me. And I'm far more happy with how I approach a lot of stories, somewhat because of that. We might have a cat incoming here shortly. Maybe not. All right. Heroes Reborn also has some one-shots, Magneto and the Mutant Force for your X-Men folks. There's going to be a spoiler cover that will not be shown. But for those of you who don't know, the Heroes Reborn story does take place in an alternate universe where the Avengers haven't happened. Blade is the only person who knows that something is off. And everything's sort of mixed and matched here in this other world. So this is a very specific X-Men story in that world. For new viewers, this is Jim. She is sometimes on our afternoon shows and hopefully will not press any buttons that will stop this show. But mostly harmless, and we've got the spray bottle just in case. All right. Also this week, because there's a lot of Heroes Reborn stuff, we've got Heroes Reborn Siege Society, which will feature Black Widow and Hawkeye leading an assault on the Squadron Supreme, who are the major team in this reality of the Marvel Universe. Sweet Aqua. And we also have the Young Squadron, which is the version of the Young Avengers, where you'll see Kid Spectrum, Girl Power, and the all-new Falcon, mixed and matched folks of Nova, Ms. Marvel, and Miles Morales, the Spider-Man. So really interesting to see how that one goes there. Infinity Gauntlet is coming back into print. That's good because we always have people asking about that. And another thing I'm very happy is coming back into print is The Journey into Mystery by Kieran Gillen. That is a young Loki series that I highly recommend people check out. It's 2 whole volumes, the complete collection. So keep an eye out for that one. King in Black gets its collected edition as well. The big bad Space Venom symbiote story that happened went over really well with a lot of folks. Our sales were wonderful. Is going to be in collected edition for folks who have been waiting. Jim, you're in the way. I can't quite see past you. There's also the MODOK Head Games collection. This will be out, I believe. Yeah. Well, a couple months after the MODOK television show, the animated television show that is happening on Hulu. From the sounds of it, we will be getting it up here in Canada on Disney Plus on the Star package. So that's really cool. The show will be advertising comic stores to get the comics, partly because Jordan Blum and Patton Oswalt are co-writing this book and they co-run the show. So pretty cool. What else we got here? The Reign of X collected editions are starting to come out. So the Dawn of X pauses at, I believe, volume 16. We'll see if I can't coax her down. Come here. Down. So know that that's where the X-Men volumes are going to be continuing from. For folks who have been buying the Dawn of X series, it rolls over into Reign of X. Reptile #1 is here, originally introduced back when post-Civil War era where there was the superhero registry program, and Reptile was part of Avengers Academy, and was actually originally a video game character that saw good traction in the show. Some of the comments are very interesting. Like Rule 3 says, I don't have to put them up. But someone is basically saying that now comic books are kid-friendly trash again. My folks, I don't know if you know this, but we're all kids at one point and we all liked garbage. I don't personally believe that modern comics are trash, but I sure as heck believe that everybody starts somewhere. And that is very important for the future of the medium, for folks to be introduced to new stories. So that and superhero comics exist in cycles because it needs to reinvent itself for the new audience. It is truly, these days, IP. Spider-Man doesn't run 60 years because running Spider-Man for 60 years is a good story idea. It just isn't. Running Batman for 60 years isn't a good story idea. It just isn't. You're going to get the same stories told for new generations. Just how it's going to go. And honestly, it should, because otherwise you should stop making those books. Just full on. If you're more concerned about the true story elements about Batman, then it should have stopped like, let's say 20, 30 years ago, at least. No more Batman. All right. Reptile on the brink of extinction in the wake of Kamala's Law and his grandfather's worsening health. Humberto Lopez, aka Reptile, has taken a step back from crime fighting to refocus on his family. Perhaps it is a sign that he should give up on becoming a hero and finally come to terms with his parents' mysterious disappearance. Or perhaps not. When a mysterious figure ambushes Humberto, what unravels will shake the core of everything Humberto has thought he knew about his past and will either change the course of his future or end it forever. Don't miss out on this breakthrough series from rising stars Terry Bless and Enid Balam. So an interesting story for those of you who don't know, Kamala's Law is a law currently in the Marvel Universe, kind of like the superhero registration law, where if you're an unregistered young superhero, you cannot practice being a superhero. For safety reasons, ? There's a lot of registry issues, especially with folks of color, that have been brought up in regards to this, which has been a very interesting way to frame the series. All right. Ding, 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 ding. I'm getting requests to help folks get on that Doomsday Clock Retcon petition. Seriously, if that's your jam, folks out there, definitely do a Google and hop on that. As for myself, again, wasn't a personal fan of the story. It exists. I have selective continuity. So it doesn't really apply to the things that I enjoyed or didn't enjoy. But yeah, we'll go from there. All right. Spider-Man, Spider's Shadow is getting a second print for the first issue. Wonderful kickoff to Marvel's new line of What If comics. This one is basically what if Peter Parker didn't get rid of the symbiote? What if he just kind of let it hang on and take over more and more of his life? Spoiler alert, it gets darker. The War of the Bounty Hunters get some prelude stuff kicking off here in your Darth Vader 12 and your Dr. Aphra 10. For those who are getting wrapped up for that series, you'll also note that the previous issues of Star Wars, I believe it was issue 12, and Bounty Hunters, issue 10, were also prelude issues. So I know a lot of people who will enjoy the series, who will want everything in it, maybe order up a couple of those on your orders this week if you're a retailer. And if you're not and you are looking to get the whole story, definitely let your retailer know that, hey, I want all of the War of the Bounty Hunters, and that includes the preludes. They can probably backtrack and get you the other issues of Star Wars and Star Wars Bounty Hunters. Marvel's 2 is being re-F.O.C'd, which is good because the first issue just came out. And it's good to have some semblance of the sales numbers before issue 2 hits. We did remarkably well with the Marvels issue 1. I'm very excited about that. The Trials of Loki is coming out. It's the Robert Rhodey story, I believe. All collected in a Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa. Right, Robert Rhodey did a one story as well. And Sebastian Fiormera, a Loki story that took place in 2010. It is a nice value-priced reprint of that 4-issue miniseries. I love the Marvel Tales price points of introducing people to new stories. Really cool. Ultimates is getting an Ultimate collection by Al Ewing because he is real big right now, and rightfully so, telling really good stories. The Vote Loki collection is getting reprinted, and the U.S. Agent Christopher Priest or Priest series that has been coming out recently is getting a collection as well. Very cool to see. Dynamite is doing its thing. It's got The Boys as a free comic book day issue and Vampirella. It's got a lot of covers of a lot of things. It's continuing its George R.R. Martin's graphic novel adaptations and many much covers for all. All right. Very excited for Boom's offerings here. Oh, good. I did not accidentally swipe this completely off the screen. The Downriver People for fans of Stillwater and Essex County. Very cool. So Stillwater, for folks who might not know, beautiful, creepy murder series about a small town where people cannot die. And Essex County, wonderful story about very rural Alberta, but with magical realism, kind of like the Brazilian style magical realism infused in its storytelling. So that cross section is going to be really cool. There comes a new graphic novel reuniting writer Adam Smith and artist Matt Fox, the duo behind the Eisner and Harvey Award-nominated Long Walk to Valhalla, for a riveting story about a man attempting to survive the complicated and dangerous web of his family's criminal ties with his soul intact. Myers Carpenter is a bootlegger who just inherited his family's bar and must turn to his estranged mother, who hasn't seen since he was a boy, for help. Meyer learns the secrets of the new family's lodge, but he may not escape the dark cult thriving just under the surface of opulence. On future shows, I'm going to be endeavoring to have read a lot more of these before I'm talking to you about them, especially the number ones. I know a lot of places do provide a little bit of a preview of these things, and so I want to do a little bit better on that front. Marvel is usually notoriously terrible for it. But I can help you out with some DC stuff this week, and I can help you out with one of the things that I've put up top and why people are asking about Watchmen, and that is a series that one of these companies promoted as just as good as Watchmen. I can see where they're coming from, but maybe with the benefit of more issues, but we'll get to that later. Enter the House of Slaughter is a big free comic book day issue from Boom. It doesn't say it specifically, so I want to tie it specifically as the font might clue you in. It is a Something is Killing the Children tie-in book. It is reprint material, so it will have been previously in Something is Killing the Children. So keep that in mind for retailers who are wondering, what the heck is this all about? Is it a new series? No, it is not. And the R.L. Stine Just Beyond series is getting another little preview for the folkses. We've got The Many Deaths of Liala Starr, number 1 of 5. The third printing, the second printing is on its way, has not come out yet for the folks who are wondering. an absolutely brilliant series. Definitely magical realism, but definitely more Mumbai based. And oh my goodness, one of my favorite comics of the past month for sure. Speaking of something that's killing the children, number 16 is the start of the newest act. A lot of people thought it was over at 15, and it probably would have been had sales not been pretty great. James Tynion has talked about how he had plans for different arcs in this series, and this is essentially the second act. The story you demanded begins here, the origin of Erica Slaughter. What shocking events brought Erica to the House of Slaughter? And what did she have to do to join the Order of St. George? The secrets are revealed here for the first time in this perfect jumping on point for new readers. So, according to the solicit, you can jump in here, and you'll definitely get more out of it if you've read the previous 15 issues, which will be collected in 3 volumes by the time this is out. The first 2 are out now, and the third one is coming very, very soon. Simone says, Comics Daddy, how do you pronounce Layla Star? It's like Lila. Lila Star. I've been listening to some comics podcasts, and that's how they pronounced it with Ramvi, the writer, on the show. So that would be how you pronounce that. I always sometimes forget to take that off there. All right. We've got the Alice in Leatherland second printing. We have a lot of the first prints here at Variant Edition, for those of you who are wondering. It's a very warm, wonderful series about a young woman who writes children's stories, who breaks up with her girlfriend and ends up finding a roommate situation that includes a lot of BDSM. But as a lot of us know, the BDSM community is a very warm and welcoming community. Something that I learned a little bit from reading Sunstone and from attending some events here in the city, where at the local movie theater, where there was a series on kink, basically. And how that community is very warm and affectionate, despite what it may be portrayed as in general. So Alice in Leatherland definitely continues that look at that community, and is just a very, very sweet book. All right. There's going to be a reprint of the American Comic Book Chronicles 50s edition. I love these books. They're not entirely accurate. I've found a couple errors in them, so take them with a grain of salt, but they are great looks at the past comic book eras, and they'll cover basically what they say. Some of the errors are split up. This one is the 50s, the whole 50s. So you'll get your look at that. We've got The Blue Flame, which is a comic that I was referring to as being sold as the next Watchmen. I had a chance to read this earlier today. I adore this book. I also listened to the off-panel podcast that writer Christopher Cantwell was on earlier this week. It is a awesome interview where he talks about a lot of things, but including The Blue Flame, which is basically an exploration of these two ideas where being a superhero can be so very cosmic and so very mundane. And so it plays between this dichotomy of this very famous person who really doesn't have a lot of resources at all, is very big in a small town, is friends with the other heroes in the town, but they're like hanging out and having pizza and worrying about everyday stuff. It's a very gentle, warm series that I really enjoyed reading. But as it says here, the Blue Flame is a cosmic hero. The Blue Flame is a DIY vigilante that fights crime on the streets of Milwaukee. The Blue Flame is a blue collar HVAC repairman named Sam Bruzam. In the wake of horrible tragedy, the boundaries of Blue Flame's identity blur even further, and now, before a universal trial, the Blue Flame must prove that humanity is worth saving. But in order to do that, Sam Bruzam has to save himself. Can he? So I understand where the Watchmen comparison is coming in. There is a different feel to this book, something that I haven't actually really encountered in a lot of my superhero reading, which is a heavy sense of mundane happenings, and not in the way that, like, what if superheroes were real, like the Kick-Ass style, which is fairly sensationalized, or even the Spider-Man style, which is like, man, being a superhero is cool, but you're always down on your luck. There isn't a sensationalistic level to this. There's the grand scale of cosmic events, but it definitely feels like there's a person at the core, a person that you know at the core. And I get why they're pushing sort of a bigger angle, especially if they've got, and I believe they do, several issues and scripts in hand. That said, I think they are overstepping a little bit with the sensationalism, but I understand that marketing is marketing, my friends, and you can do worse than comparing this to Watchmen when it has a solid chance of being a very, very top-notch story, especially from the first issue that I read. I would have loved to read a little bit more to see where a lot of this is being pulled from, because the first issue could have been a little bit longer for my tastes, but I'm extremely intrigued, and I do highly recommend folks at least try this out. As a retailer, please know that Vault is still having this be fully returnable. So the risk is not on you, it is on them. And when they are pushing that marketing, it might behoove you to jump on board. A lot of the Vault titles have gone to second printings very quickly. And as you can see here, they've got quite a few different covers. Normally Diamond doesn't show the qualified variants, but they're showing you some of them here. And look at that. That's a nice Rocketeer take. Very cool. There's a whole bunch of Captain Canuck product being restocked, which is nice. I've been very shocked that the Captain Canuck stuff has been printed, because ever since we opened the store, there's been promises of Captain Canuck product has never shown up. So when I see these things here, I'm just like, oh, that's cool. We'll see if that actually comes out. So please do, because we've got folks looking for them. All right. What else do we have here? Danica's pick of the week this week, Destiny New York, returns. Definitely check out our Best of the Week show that went out yesterday. You can do that at on social media anywhere at Variant Edmonton. You'll see the streaming that happened yesterday on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. And check that out. It's a wonderful YA series that I'm very excited to get into the hands of folks, both as single issues and as a collected edition later. Speaking of good YA, Erratic, Volume 1 from Carrie Andrews was absolutely fun stuff. You're 15 years old. You're suddenly granted incredible powers. Cool, right? There's only one problem. You can only use your powers for 10 minutes at a time. What do you do when you have to save the world, but you only have 10 minutes to do it? This is the problem faced by Oliver Leaf, a teenager who has just moved to a new town in a new school and is having a hard time navigating classes and is crushed before the interdimensional monsters started showing up. Very, very fun series, very Spider-Man-like, but with that added wrinkle of superhero stuff happening. Simone asks, where would you recommend starting for Captain Canuck? They are one of the things that I actually do love about the publisher that puts out Captain Canuck is they do make things fairly easy to check out because they label their various series in seasons. So I would recommend season 1 of Captain Canuck by Kalman Androvsky, who is the writer. I can't exactly remember who the artist was on that arc at this moment in time. Ooh, I forgot to do something. Whoops. But that would be the best place to start. There are some classic stuff, but that's the start of the modern stuff, is the season 1. And we can very easily help you out and start you with there. The first one is well priced to start checking out. So very good. Very, very good. All right. Gung Ho is coming out from Ablaze. This is the second Gung Ho series, if I'm remembering properly. Published originally over in Europe. Archer has been banished from the colony, falsely condemned for the rape of Selene. But Zack doesn't believe in his brother's guilt, so an expedition is launched into the danger zone. Unbeknownst to the rest of the community, the teens go to look for Archer if he is still alive. The expedition will not be without risks, though, nor without unpleasant surprises. Back at Fort Apache, confusion reigns and tensions are at an all-time high as the adults look to safeguard the young and keep the colony intact. But with a white wave approaching, is it already too late? A couple notes for this series. It does tackle a lot of harsh topics, and it does use a lot of language that, well, you say Fort Apache. These are not indigenous folks. So those things in mind, while experiencing the series, it is definitely a look at a post-apocalyptic era, but in the ways that people come together and the ways that people push apart. A fascinating read, but one that is not without its problems. And stories are allowed to have their problems. It's just a matter of recognizing something that might be problematic and learning. I am super, super excited for more Kaiju Max. I love this series. The 5th volume is going to be coming out. It is basically a dark comedy prison drama with Kaiju monsters. It's bright, it's colorful, it hurts a lot. I have never been punched so hard or felt so tense as I have while reading this series sometimes. I am a little bit behind. I don't think I've read any of season 5. But I'm so happy that this collection is coming in soon so that I can get my hands on it. Little Victories, I believe, might be on here for the second time, but still a really cool book to look into. The award-winning graphic novel autobiography of a father and the challenges he faces raising his autistic son. This stunning insight into the nature of autism and the daily struggles of a parent uses humor and compassion to convey its message. This is the perfect creative outlet for anybody, from parent to teacher, looking for detailed information on the subject with a more personal touch. Winner of the Disability Fund and Society Award for Best Biography. Pretty cool. Oh boy, this has gone on for long. I'm not even at the DC stuff. A Man's World from AWA. A weekend getaway on a resort planet goes south when 4 friends run afoul of the planet's working class. Stranded in the wilderness on a strange planet, surrounded by danger on all sides and relentlessly pursued by vengeful locals, they must test their bonds of friendship in order to survive. It's basically a bunch of ding-dongs who work themselves into a bad situation, trying to get out of it. It's a fun book, and with AWA, you always get a nice, cheap American price point, which does translate to a pretty decent Canadian price point as well. Folks, very excited for this. I would be talking about MFKZ, but it looks like it's just the one cover that's on here. And the actual book was solicited a little bit ago, so skipping on that one. But Money Shot is returning for a 3rd arc. from Tim Seeley and Sarah Beatty with new artist Caroline Lane. It is basically, for those of you who don't know what Money Shot is, it is basically about a bunch of scientists who keep getting defunded. And so they do what anybody would do in that situation. They decide to definitely a bunch of aliens and record it and then sell it and then make money because people are into a lot of freaky stuff. The beautiful part about this book is it happens to be quite touching and doesn't treat sex as completely tawdry. A bit of a commodity in that they're using it to fund their research, but the connections that it causes them to form both casually and emotionally in different ways and in different interactions are explored here. And it's a really interesting story. A wonderfully well done. This arc start also will include polybagged variants that you will not be able to see. No, because they're naughty. So keep an eye out for that. The Jen Bartel one is probably going to be something that Danica and I buy because Jen Bartel is amazing and we love this series. We also have one from the regular series artist and the regular series writer. So something to look out for. These are new additions. You can tell because it's got an 8,000 code at the start. So this was not solicited alongside the regular book. So as a retailer, keep an eye out for that. Make sure your customers know. I know it's a little bit of a short notice, but what you can do before Monday is what you can do. Montana Diary from Silver Sprocket. Ignat's award-winning cartoonist Whit Taylor, who has done work for the Nib, documents her road trip across Montana in this diary mini-comic, balancing millennial humor with the resonant observations about the state's complicated history. Montana Diary tells a slice of America's story, knowing that you can't separate its wonder from its tragedy. Very good to note. The Rise #1 is getting a second printing for those of you who missed out on the first issue. I know there was quite a few folks because heavy metal solicits their things very weird. So if that's something that you missed, definitely queue us and we can get it for you. Definitely queue your comic shop to let them get it for you. This might not appear on their official form for final order cutoff. So definitely let them know so that they can manually plug it in as well. And You Promised Me Darkness #1 second printing is here for folks who missed out on that one as well. I think that's going to bring us pretty much to the end here. Indeed it is. You can see here there's from Titan Comics, the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back annual special editions. There is a previews exclusive cover for those of you who are into that jazz. I know a lot of folks who definitely queue into those things. So you don't want to miss that. All right. Let's get going to Lunar. Because this has been long. All right. So since we are hitting Lunar, we are going to change the banner that we have going here because Lunar final orders are due on Sunday. Now, the first batch that'll go through where it says Lunar final orders are due on Sunday, that is for, as you see there, items on final order cutoff for May 2nd. If you are a Universal customer, this order cutoff has already passed. We will be going through the Universal order cutoff after we do the Lunar ones. This is because Universal is essentially a wholesaler like Diamond will be, and so their deadline is a bit tighter. So as you will be able to see here, we've got subsequent printings of Batman Fortnite, issue 1 and 3. Issue 3 is not out yet. It is a couple weeks off, but is already out of print, as is most of the series. Issue 5 is on final order cutoff for folks. So if you have people scrambling for that series, definitely let them know. And and get people added as well as you can. Midnight Western Theater from Scout is due this week. Some of you might have ordered that on Diamond already. And as you will note, Diamond does not have Scout on final order cutoff, which is one of the reasons why I like that they're on Lunar and also Universal. Welcome to the Midnight Western Theater. Our feature presentation is a tale of a town under siege. The notorious Red Tom and his dastardly posse have laid claim to the once prosperous vista of Liberty Springs. But for how long? Will these outlaws be able to savor their sinful victory as two black-clad strangers suddenly arrive? Find out in this first thrilling issue. There's also Milestone Returns Infinite Edition number 0. I did have a chance to read this. Reginald Hudlin is a good writer. Sometimes he doesn't quite hit the tones that I like personally, but this is a very now book. A lot of these characters have been recontextualized into modern events. Because it's Reginald Hudlin, there is a little bit of a heavy hand. I also believe that now is not the time for subtlety. Because a lot of folks don't seem to be getting the message these days. So that's a thing there. This does include the 17-page primer story that was originally released online during Fandom, and then includes a whole bunch of extras. Extra story that you didn't get to read before. I really like it. If you are excited about the Milestone universe returning, this is the place to start with that. Mr. Miracle is coming out, spinning out of the Future State events. And spinning out is a bit of a misnomer. Future State happens in the future. So it is starting the events that will lead to Future State. The story of how Shiloh Norman became the Mr. Miracle of tomorrow starts here. The Mr. Miracle show used to be the hottest ticket in town. Whether you caught him on stage escaping from perilous traps or spotted him on the streets of Metropolis taking out bad guys, what Shiloh Norman forgot is the first rule of both showbiz and superheroing. Always leave them wanting more. Now it's time to start showing the world what a miracle man can do. Showbiz superhero rule number 2, timing is everything. And there's a new performer in town who wants to knock Mr. Miracle off his pedestal and stake a claim to his famous moniker. Can Shiloh break free of the trap? Why, yes, that is a clue. I did read this as well. I enjoyed it. It's not going to do what Tom King and Mitch Dredd's Mr. Miracle did. So be wary of cross-referencing that if you are a retailer. Definitely find a more subdued... I don't want to say subdued. It's a more relaxing book. It's definitely more traditionally superhero-y. And you'll want to aim more traditional superhero on that one. There's this brilliant second printing cover to Nightwing number 79. As you can see, all of the different eras of Nightwing are represented here, which is absolutely wonderful. I love it. And otherwise, I think that is all for that one. We're going to pop over. Whoa, no, what have I done? I want to click on that button. For the final bit, where we go over the Universal orders. Universal orders are due on Thursday. They will say on the Lunar site that they are items on F.O.C. for next Sunday. That's a bit of a misnomer because Lunar needs to, or Universal needs to get their numbers into Lunar basically, and so their deadline is a lot different based off of different things. So you have your Batman 109 coming out. You have the return of the Batman Adventures continue that basically do new seasons of the Batman Adventures cartoon. This one will be tackling the City of Owls storyline, which is going to be very cool to see. You have the first Crush and Lobo book with that sweet cover by Christopher Anka. I love saying Christopher Anka's name. We have two geese living next to the store right now, and we call them Christopher's Honka. They're both named Christopher Honka, and the plural of Christopher Honka is Christopher's Honka. This is by Mariko Tamaki, and I'm going to say Nahilpen. I am definitely getting that name wrong. I am very sorry. I will endeavor to learn that pronunciation. In case anyone was wondering, Crush is doing just fine, actually. Sure, she recently walked away from her classmates at the Roy Harper Titans Academy and effectively quit being a Teen Titan in a blaze of glory. And okay, her relationship with her too good to be true girlfriend Katie is kind of on the rocks, if you want to be technical all about it. And she recently found out that Lobo's in space jail, but that's cool because he's the worst. So, okay, maybe Crush has some stuff, but that doesn't mean she's going to do anything about it. Like actually go to space and confront her dad and all her problems because everything's fine, right? I'm pretty sure everything's fine. Quick note. Tip to everybody existing out there. When somebody says everything's fine, they definitely mean it. They don't mean it. It's a trick. Something to keep aware of if you are a customer. Your store probably won't be getting this team variant because they have to order at least 250 copies. That is their minimum order. So probably not happening. Looks like DC Horror Presents The Conjuring is on final order cut off way sooner than I thought it might be. So this is coming out real quick. It is tying into The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So if you like The Conjuring movies, this is going to be something to check out because it is crafted by the screenwriter and Rex Ogle with art from Gary Brown, who is absolutely outstanding, and covers from Bill Sienkiewicz. Very cool. I don't know much about The Conjuring, so chances are I will, by the time final order cutoffs roll around for Universal stuff, but not yet. Also, the DC Pride one-shot is coming out. This features a wide variety of different artists and characters. I wish there was the full list here, but there is a wonderful array of folks, including the introduction of new hero, the Dreamer, into the DCU as seen on the CW's Supergirl. Wonderful trans character on that show, and soon to be in the DC universe for the first time ever. We have the final issue of Far Sector. I am so excited to finally read this book in its entirety. We've been selling out of it quite frequently, and so I have not been reading it issue to issue. I will catch up and burn through that because, oh my goodness, the world building in those first 4 issues were some of the best that I've read in comics, period. We got the Justice League Unlimited Girl Power Collection. The Justice League Unlimited graphic novels collect different eras of the comic book. It is all based off of the TV show of the same name, and I'm very excited for this to get into folks' hands because, hey, they are some wonderful, wonderful stuff. Looks like Murder Hobo has the big floppy edition coming out. It's the first 3 issues of Murder Hobo about a murder hobo. It is, as Big Floppy Edition describes, not for children. Let's put it that way. Its imagery is not subtle. We also have the first issue of Nice House on the Lake from James Tynion IV and Alvaro Martinez Bueno. Very excited for this to kick off a new horror series. Everyone who was invited to the house knows Walter, or well, they know him a little anyways. Some met him in childhood, some met him months ago, and Walter's always been a little off. But after the hardest year of their lives, nobody was going to turn down Walter's invitation to an astonishingly beautiful house in the woods, overlooking an enormous sylvan lake. It's beautiful, it's opulent, it's private. So a week of putting up with Walter's weird little schemes and nicknames in exchange for their vacation of a lifetime? Why not? All of them were at that moment in their lives when they could see themselves pulling away from their other friends. Wouldn't a chance to reconnect be nice? Something is killing the children in the Department of Truth. James Tynion IV has changed the face of horror in modern comics. I would say that's hyperbole, but I don't think it is. Definitely the most prolific right now. Now get ready for his most ambitious story yet, alongside his Detective Comics partner, Alvaro Martinez Bueno. Very freaking cool. And I believe that is all she wrote for this round. Oh my goodness, it was a long one. Thank you all for sticking with me throughout all of this. You will be able to find us here again next week going over the final order cutoffs. We will be endeavoring to bring in some more interactive elements into this. I'm very thankful for the folks who commented today. And hopefully we will be able to talk to you all again in the future. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you again next time.